Yes, I remember.
Welcome to my predictive job tier list for Future's Rewritten Ultimate. Since this is my first ever video, you will probably wonder, who the f am I? I rate semi-hardcore, having cleared DSR and top within roughly a month of them coming out. I'm most certainly not the best player, but I do play almost every job to a decent enough level, and I like to analyze and review fights, logs, statistics and performance, so you don't have to. For this predictive tier list, I will rate every job based on their potential for the upcoming ultimate. This factors in their current performance, their available toolset, and the expected adjustments that they will be getting. First off, let me explain how to view and use this tier list. Since job balance is generally very good in Final Fantasy, S tier does not mean a job is broken or far superior, and neither does D tier stand for trash. The gap between the tiers is very small. The list has to be taken with double grains of salt as well. 1, because it's just some guy's opinion on the internet, and 2, because it's partially based on speculation. How can you use this tier list other than for entertainment? Maybe someone in your group is not sure what to play. Maybe you are unsure yourself. Maybe the content drop made you eager to explore new jobs or swap roles.
Pain shall be fleeting, joy everlasting.
We will start with the healers. I will go more in depth here, since I'm a healer main, I know them best. My main job, Astrologian, has outperformed all other healers by a significant margin in Acadion. Tool and utility wise, it has always outperformed its counterpart White Mage, and since the rework that came with Dawntrail didn't touch any of its healing tools, I can hardly see a world where you wouldn't want an Astrologian in your party. The only reason I put my main job in A tier instead of S is because it's overperforming so much at the moment that it can only avoid a nerf via its low play rate. White Mage, the only healer I don't actively play, is not without hope though. Having gained a party shield in Dawntrail and usually performing better in fights with downtime, like ultimates, they will close the gap to Astrologian at least a little bit, even if Astrologian is not receiving a nerf. And so I don't have to put them into C tier. But I will anyway. Scholar retains its clunkiness in Dawntrail, but gains throughput and mobility by virtue of Seraphism letting them mimic sages when it comes to shielding on the move, at least temporarily. Similar to Astrologian, it is a healer with a raid buff, which tends to be particularly valuable in ultimates, since it allows organized groups to shift damage to where it is needed. Additionally, scholars can spread out their mitigation more effectively than sages, making them more versatile in ultimates. Huge shields from deployment tactics tend to favor the mitigation checks in ultimates more as well, thus I will put them into A tier. Sage is in a bit of an unfortunate situation. While extremely smooth to play compared to Scholar, it does not bring anything particularly useful for ultimates in comparison. Philosophia is very unlikely to be more useful than Seraphism, since regioning people up slowly is not something that can't be achieved otherwise. In case we see excessive healing checks with repeated damage similar to Agmon's Edge or Terminal Relativity, Paneheimer will be very powerful. The main reason I can put Sage into B tier rather than C is because Double Shield is likely to be the meta, or at least secretly OP for the new ultimate, given how Scholar Sage pairs can trivialize Top's mitigation checks. In summary, the difference between healers is not substantial. While White Mage will likely be able to catch up to Astrologian damage, it does not have the same versatile toolset, and smart groups might see the benefit in running Double Shield if their healers cannot play Astrologian, rather than bringing White Mage. Optimally, you would use Scholar and Astrologian or Scholar and Sage, but even running the most popular healers, White Mage and Sage, it is unlikely to cause major issues for the group. Sometimes ease of play is more important than the tools available.
I'm the only one fit to protect her.
The difference between tanks is even smaller. The main point here is a few tools they have available. Paladin claims S tier for Divine Veil and Passage of Arms, and their being cheese potential with cover. The job does also very well as main and off tank. Warrior goes into A tier, having Shake, which is stronger than Veil, and the short invuln potentially offers more uses. While Dark Knight and Gunbreaker tend to perform better in damage than the other two, their party mitigation not working on physical damage can be a problem, as Acadion has shown. Dark Knight slightly edges out Gunbreaker for its immense burst and 2-minute buffs, potentially beating the other tanks overall by quite a bit in downtime heavy content.
You're not going anywhere.
Physical ranges, the least popular role in Savage and probably most popular in Ultimates. Let's summarize their selling points. Bard brings the strongest rate buffs, healing increase and extremely good performance in boss phases that are 2:30 or 4:30 minutes long, as we have seen in top phase 3 and 6. Dancer brings a shield, heal and mobility as well as more ease of play. And Machinist brings its 10% mitigation on a 2-minute cooldown. And that's pretty much it. Sorry Machinist enjoyers. Usually Bard tends to perform the best. While Dismantle really is the best tool of the first ranges, it isn't impactful enough to edge out the better performance of rate buffing jobs.
Infinite possibilities condensed into a single moment.
For mages, the situation looks almost more depressing. For some reason, having a race ended up leaving Red Mage and Summoner far behind the other casters in damage. In Dawntrail, this race tax, as well as the physical range tax, has inflated from formerly 3, maybe 5% to over 10%. Additionally, raises are less useful in Ultimates, as multiple deaths can pretty much never be recovered, unless it is UCOP. Healer MP is also not a thing with excessive downtime, thanks to the by far strongest burst among all DPS, bringing a rate buff, a 10% shield for the party. On a 90-second cooldown and decent mobility, Picto gets the least surprising S tier. While Black Mage has buffs on the horizon, it is unlikely it can beat Picto simply due to how well Picto deals with downtime thanks to their motives. They also bring no extra mitigation. Red Mage's magic barrier is nice, but much less useful than Tempera Grassa. Mainly Red Mage's gauge can be used to shift damage around in the fight where it is needed. And Summoner? Well, all it has going is its incredible ease of play.
Shadows fall!
Melees, our favorite greeders. Replace Brain with uptime. Naturally, Ninja with its burst and Mug debuff will perform even better than it has at the end of Acadian and Savage. Similarly, Monk looks very promising, also offering Mantra to the party as well as Neutral of Earth heal. Reaper and Dragoon will be somewhere in the middle, not offering the most impact but decent damage, an amazing buff in the case of Dragoon, and gauge manipulation in the case of Reaper. Samurai looks very weak right now, but that means it is likely to receive buffs. Their burst tends to also be on the higher end. Meanwhile Viper, despite being a buffless job, has the worst burst out of all melees, and its current performance will potentially be left behind in the patch. With their damage being less tied to 1 and 2 minute windows, downtime might affect them extremely negatively. If top is any indication, they really earn a D tier here. These are my predictions for how jobs will perform in the new Ultimate, and may help you decide which jobs to focus on gearing, learning or honing your skills in. Let's see if these predictions hold up, or if Yoshi P rewrites the future. If you found that pun painful, dislike the video, unsub and even angry comment below. Now allow me to talk a minute about the direction I want to go with my channel. Firstly, I chose a simple video format, a tier list, for my first video to start with something easy, well established, clickable and popular. I also like tier lists. This won't be the main focus of my channel, though occasionally I will make a tier list again. As for the immediate future, I want to make more content relating to Final Fantasy XIV. But also game design in general. Since I worked professionally and privately as game designer for many years, it has been my passion for even longer than that. These two topics will probably be on separate channels to help with the algorithm. Next up for Final Fantasy XIV will be a video on how to improve your gameplay and level up from a casual dungeon enjoyer to a next trial Andy, Savage Raid Delver and lastly Ultimate Degen. The goal is to have concise and to the point videos on one hand and more analytical and in-depth ones on the other. See you in your next video. Menari out.